This is Aisha and welcome to our 55th Kotlin tutorial, and in this tutorial I'll be talking about the interfaces in Kotlin programming language. So an interface is quite similar to that of Java in Kotlin programming language, and you can create an interface by using the keyword interface in Kotlin. Now in interface you can have a definition of abstract methods, and you can also have the implementation of non-abstract methods. Now you can create an interface by using the keyword interface, and in this tutorial I'm going to create a simple interface, and the implementation of this interface will be provided by the class. So whenever you are creating an interface, the implementation of this interface is provided in a class, is provided by a class. Now for example, the name of the interface is interface example, and then we will have the body of the interface. So inside the body I'm going to create a variable, for example a, of integer type, and then I'm going to create a function. For example, let's say ab is the name of the function and the return type of this function is string, and then I'm going to create another function. So it can be seen here that we got no error because of body. For example, if I write fun qw, for example, is the name, and then no body, then we will have an error. So the error says that this function must have a body. So when in the interface you are creating a function, it is not necessary to provide the body as well, but when we are implementing our class, we have to provide the body of this function, and we have to implement this function. So now I'm going to create another function xy, for example, and now in xy we will have a body, and inside we will have a print line statement, and I'm going to print hello interface. Okay, so now I have to implement my interface now. So I'm going to use a class, the name of the class, for example interface implementation or impli. Okay, and then the name of the interface, which is interface example, and then we will have the body of this class. So now inside the class we will have our methods. The methods that are not defined here, for example this function is only declared and not defined. Similarly, the variable a is only declared and not defined. So the variables and functions that are not defined in this interface must be initialized and defined in this class. So I have to use the override keyword to override these variables and these functions. So now override variable a of integer type, and now I have to define this variable. So defining a variable means assigning a value to this variable. So I'm going to write, for example, 12. Then I have to override my function. Still you can see we have an error. This is because the implementation of this function is provided by this class. Then again I have to write the override keyword, and I'm going to override the function ab to provide its implementation, and then the return type is string, and then we will have the body of the function, and you can see everything is fine. So there is no error because of this function. This is because the implementation or the definition of this function is provided already. Then inside this function we are getting an error. This is because of the return statement. So now I'm going to write any message, for example Kotlin. Okay, and I have to return the string, return Kotlin, and everything is fine. So return Kotlin. Kotlin is a string which will be returned. Now inside the main function I'm going to call my class, from which we will call our interface, or we will work with the interface. So now first of all I'm going to create an object of this class. Interface impli is the name of our class, and then I'm going to use the print line statement and value of, okay, value equals dollar symbol, curly braces, and now I'm going to print the value of our variable a. Okay, so now this variable belongs to this interface, but we have used the class to implement this interface, and this class overrides this variable, so we can use the object of this class to access this variable. Then again print line, I'm going to display a message which will tell the user that I am calling the function xy. So xy is called. Then I will use the object to call the xy function, and then I'm going to use the object to call the ab function. So now when you call this ap function has a return type which is string. So now this ap function must be assigned to some variable, or it must be called inside a print line statement. So variable x equals ab dot object dot ab, and then we will have to print our variable x. So now what we did, first of all we have created an interface, and the implementation of this interface is provided by this class. So inside this interface we have variable and we have two methods. The implementation of the second method is provided in the interface itself, but the implementation of the variable and the first method is provided by this class by overriding this variable and function. Now from the main function we have created an object of this class, and then we have used this object to access the variable and to call these functions. When you run the program you will have the output and you will see how the interface works. So now you can see here value equals 12, xy is called, then we have the message hello interface, and then ab is called, so we have the message or string Kotlin. So that's it for this tutorial. Thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.